next week. Just what does that do for you and your team?
I think it does a lot. I think, for me, the play, how we play is really important. I think there were some good steps forward. You're winning a Omaha caliber game on Friday night, close, back and forth, great opponent. So that there's so much value in that and how we found a way to do that. I thought last night's performance maybe the best game of the year. We've had a lot of good ones, but I thought last night was really good. All phases, and they're really good. On a Sunday to have those arms that you can run out there, and our guys did a pretty good job too. They got a big hit. Cozio got a big hit to make that a 4-run inning instead of a 2-run inning. And then, they were able to add on a little bit, at least from my vantage point at the end, was a TV. So I thought our guys, competed fine. I think there's tremendous value in helping us know the roadmap of what we're going to need to do to win in tournament play from this weekend.
Innings 4 through 6 were kind of tough for you guys offensively. What was Arkansas doing to make life difficult?
Christian Fouch has thrown 100 miles an hour with 25 inches of induced vertical break. I can say push the ball down, but it's a lot easier from the dugout than the batter's box. So that was 5 of those at bats. Carter, we got to him kind of quickly. I think maybe if we just, got one more hit. We had the bases loaded there and hit into the double play where we could have tied the game, even with a slow roller. Maybe that helps, but, we gave up some runs late. So I don't know that it would have tipped it. Maybe one more good at bat with guys on base.
How encouraging was the relief effort from Chase today?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, really proud of him. I said this last weekend, and it proved me correct, I guess, is, it really changes the dynamic of our team when a couple of guys throw the ball well, and I was directly thinking of him because I thought he threw the ball well last weekend too. And he did today and showed some durability, which shouldn't be a surprise because he started for 9 or 10 weeks. But to go 17 pitches the other night, and I think he was up to 58 today, and really effective. I think it ended up being like 4 2/3 innings, which is kind of like a start. So if you're close to 5 innings and less than 2 runs in a start, we'd all be happy about that. And it actually has way more value out of the bullpen. And they're a good lineup. They're a good lineup, and it's hot. And it was an offensive day. So, we just needed a couple more runs to hold a lineup like that down for 9 innings after, using some bullets to be up 2-0. It's not easy, but, I thought our guys did good, and I thought the guys that didn't, they have a clear path forward to get better.
There was a stretch in this series where in 10 innings you guys scored at least 1 run in 8 of 10 innings. I know you talked about
Love that.
I know you talked about before about being able to add on.
Yeah.
When you guys are doing that in the penultimate weekend of the regular season, really good timing.
Absolutely. And again, the stretch that we're in this league play makes it really hard to just have positive results all the time. And so that's why I'm so about how we train, develop a good process to improve while we're going. Not everybody can improve this time of year. I believe that we can, and I think that's a good thing, and I think that's a good indication of it against some really high-level pitchers. And, we got their starter out in the 3rd inning today, I think. That's a win. Thought it set us up good, but they're one team, and there's not many out there that can do that and can find a way to piece it together. Parker Coyle that ended the game, it was him, right?
Yeah.
It's, I didn't have my usual view from the top step. That's a pretty good dude to roll out for the 13th guy that you've used on the weekend.
What was the explanation, I guess, on the ejection? Did he tell you anything?
I told him he flinched, he missed it, you did, and he ejected me. So, and then I said he didn't give me a warning. He said he gave our dugout a warning. And a misinterpretation of what I guess that is or was. But, yeah.
How important has Luis Hernandez just been to this lineup all season?
Yeah, it's great.
Today?
Yeah, great. He's had a really good SEC season. Most of the homers have been in SEC play. Some big hits. Certainly a good one today to get us going. Another a good AB in a second at bat. And more than anything is we needed character at that position this year. When you have a relatively, we're not a young team, but we're a very new team relative to what was here last year versus this year. And, the guy behind the plate is really important to the pitching staff. He's important to the offense. He's just a Hall of Fame human being. I would not trade him for anybody. And when he hits, we've had these guys at LSU. Like, there's one guy in the lineup that may not be the headlined guy, but when they go, we're almost impossible to beat. And I feel like Luis is that guy offensively.
How about defensively? He seems to really help the pitchers when
Yes.
he goes and talks to them
Yeah.
and calm them down and everything. What have you seen from him in that aspect?
Well, we tell the catchers, this is something I heard somewhere, that it's the catcher's job is to be a servant to the pitcher, and that's block the ball they throw in the dirt. That's encourage them when they need it. That's frame the borderline pitch to help them get the strike. They're there for the pitcher, and it's kind of like the offensive lineman in football. That they're the most important people on the field. They just don't get talked about the way the quarterback or the running back does. And he's exceptional relationship building, both with the pitchers, and he's done a great job with Kate Beatty also. And so very, very thankful to him. And, I think we got 4 weeks at most, or 4.5 weeks at most, or 5. I lost count. It was 5 weeks and 3 days at the start of this series. And, I love having Luis Hernandez on my team.
I know you don't like your team looking ahead. Do you look ahead at all? I know you kind of are the one that looks ahead.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel good about your positioning going into the final week?
Oh,
of the
yeah,
season?
absolutely.
What
Yeah.
about the finish?
Yeah, I had a kind of a thing last Sunday night, and I was just sitting at home late, really late, because we got home late. And then I was just thinking about the game that day and the series, and, it was a little bit like, okay, if I could have gone back to January and gone, okay, this is your positioning. You got to decide right now, would you have taken it last week? And I had to, even though I was disappointed we lost the game and in the moment competitor, I did say I would have, and I think we only strengthened that this weekend.
With Casey Evans, what's the next step for him to get 4, 5, 6 innings into the game more consistently?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was his third start, so he did get 6 against Tennessee. I think there's not a freshman pitcher in the country, because I don't believe there's one in the conference. Maybe there is on one of the teams that we've played that just faced 2 teams that played for the national title last year with a lot of guys back in Arkansas. It's probably the favorite to win the whole thing. So, I mean, what a great starting point. I mean, that's a pretty tall ask of Coach Johnson, of that young man. But if there's any pitcher I've had at that age that was ready for it, it was him. And I think he'll have unbelievable value from starting it out that way. And looking forward to next week, with the short week, we'll have to see how we shuffle the deck and do some things. But he's only going to get better. And just like the guys that struggled at the end of the game, I'm sure they're disappointed in their performance, but, I have all the faith in the world in Connor and William and Maverick to be big parts of this thing and big parts of what we're going to do going forward.
You talked about that dry period between the 4th and the 6th inning, but I guess making the most of those opportunities, whether it was stolen bags or crossing plate when the bases are loaded. What does it look like reaching back into maybe last night's performance as you all continue?
Yeah, we really documented it yesterday. And we wanted to move on to today, but what we call our process of winning that we lay out, that this is what we're going to be good at. And if we are good at this, we're going to win the game. It was darn near a perfect game last night. You hit all the marks. 3 quality at-bats in a row. We want to do that 4 times. We did it 5. And we only hit for 6 2/3 innings. We got every guy that got to third with less than 2 outs scored last night. We had 8 walks, so that means we managed the zone really well. So we won the free base war. We won the big inning. We won the most innings in the game. And, I mean, we hit 12 balls 100 miles an hour in 6 2/3 innings. That's about almost 2 an inning. So I think you tie that back to how you do what you do and then try to emulate it. And I don't think the guys didn't try today at all. I think, I'm going to tip my hat to those arms that threw today. And when you get up 2-0, I mean, we did get through Gackle, who's obviously the guy they wanted to go to. And Jimenez was in there until the very end tonight. We got through those guys in one. And then we won so handily last night. They didn't really use the leverage guys. That's what makes it hard to sweep a team that's as elite as Arkansas. So I think we have a good template of how we need to get there, and we'll go to work on it this week again. And I'm really happy we had a game like yesterday that shows the way to that.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.